keeping my feet entrenched in the principles of character that we explored at the very beginning, the concept of Optimus Prime. And I chose to, in those many years ago, to apply those principles of character and influence in any way I could to maintain it, and we were very successful. And that's the great thing about working with the Hasbro people, and like Aaron Archer, who has the Bible on Transformers. It's about that thick.
Oh, wow.
And when you think back and the collaboration with the Hasbro Discovery, and to do this concept and to continue not only what we did in G1, but to go beyond that and really have the identity of character illustrated through, human. Great opportunity for family entertainment to kind of see a marriage between the action, the space fiction, and the relationships between Autobots, and in Optimus Prime case, the elements of human qualities engineered into a relationship with humanoids at that age. I think we've done a great job. I think we're going to continue to do that and maintain those principles, for family entertainment.
Honestly, because he won't let me not maintain it. When you inherit Optimus Prime, the character comes with Peter, and so it sort of comes right out of the gate with certain rules and expectations, and I think all of us who inherited Optimus Prime over the years feel somewhat beholden to what he's done, and you don't want to break it. It's not, you don't want to change it. It's not broken. So you tend to write toward what he's done before. Maybe you find another shaper here or there, which is fantastic at exploring, but in general, he's not going to let you get too far from the board.
Does he give you notes?
No.
Sounding like a dictator.
No.
Mr. Cullen, what did you think when Mr. Klein made Optimus Prime a Decepticon, and did you get emotional about it at all?
I did.
You trust him?
I did. And for good reason. Because I was told that I wasn't going to meet Decepticon after all. I was aware of the development that was going to go on, and I thought that was a real flavorful addition to it, because it gave me a sense of, further opportunity to delve into other than just Optimus Prime. I could be, Prime as Orion Pax, and I loved it. I mean, the research of the former days of Cybertron, I think that gives me a sense of, it's a thrill, to wonder what it's like before you get the Matrix, before all of that, and then you actually become the real Prime, the only Prime, It was great.
Peter, you talked about the principles of the character from way back when. I'm sorry if you told the story, but when you read the script, what was your ideal for the character? Did you have someone in mind? I always think of Optimus Prime as all the best John Wayne's as a hero rolled into one guy. The guy you can always count on to be there. What was your inspiration for the character when you read the script?
Well, I've told this story many times, and I'm sure it's becoming probably a legend on its own. I based the character on my own brother, Larry Cullen. Larry was a Marine Corps officer in Vietnam. He was a awarded medal recipient, more than the Purple Heart, 2 Purple Hearts and a Bronze Star. And we lived together in Burbank, California, for a time when I was just going out one day to audition for Transformers. And my brother Larry had asked me as I was going out, he said, "Peter, where are you going?" Now, you got to understand that Larry was 6 inches taller. He's got a deeper voice, and he's probably the most honest, truthful, gentle, understanding, strong guys I've ever known. He was my And when I went out the door, he said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to audition for a truck." He says, "What a way to make a living." And I said, "Yeah." But I said, "Larry, he's a hero." He says, "Interesting. Well, Peter, be a real hero. You know, don't be one of those Hollywood prototype stuff. Be strong enough to be gentle. Don't be yelling and screaming all the time. That's my advice, Peter. Take it or leave it." So I drove to the audition, and the words that I used many times before is, Larry just jumped off the page when I first started reading it. And I, inside, spiritually inside, reading that, and I felt something really connect. I had a feeling. It was, I said, this is continue with Peter. This is going to work. This is good. Oh my God. Nobody's ever heard anything like this before. Nobody's done it like this before. Keep going, keep going. And when I was finished, and I left that audition place, I was driving, and I said to myself, if I don't get this, there's something wrong. And 2 weeks later, I got the call, got the part of Optimus Prime, and I just knew it. For some reason, I knew it. And then I said, "You also got another character." I said, "I petitioned for maybe 6 characters, and the other one was Ironhide." And I had just recently, the night before, had watched television and saw an actor in a movie. I think it was Chill Wills and somebody else. It was two big guys. Oh my God, it was fresh in my brain, and Ironheart came up, and I just went into it. And I said, "Oh, he really does." You know, it wasn't a show. Wallace Berry. Wallace Berry. His son was Noah Berry. Yeah, Rockford Files, Noah Berry. And yeah, oh, gee, really good.
Mr. Cullen, I feel like Transformers Prime did a very classic thing about dedicating an episode that touched upon the consequences of war to your program. How do you feel that Optimus's sort of brand and leadership has evolved over the years? Because Transformers Prime seems to have taken more serious about consequences.
Well, I think the reality is that it's part of our world, and there's a responsibility, I think, of leadership to be right and to do what's right. I think it's a difficult process, life, when you consider there's such good and evil everywhere. And I think that Prime is best suited to bring out the best in people under dire circumstances. And I think to do that, you have to commit yourself to the right form of leadership so that you can separate violence for violence sake. There's no justification for violence, for unnecessary violence. If you're honest and truthful to the things that happen, and you can commit to them in the right way, I think we're doing the right thing. We're doing a good job.
I'll take a look at that too. Obviously, we made a decision pretty early on that our violence would have consequences. And part of that is the change in television overall. If you go back to those days when Magnum would handle like Magnum would get shot in 1 week, and the next week there was not only not a bandage, there was scarlet, and around the time of Hill Street Blues and some of those other shows, it really started to change where the consequences from week to week. And then what happened show for younger viewers, we don't really want to send a message that violence has no consequences. It's fun. If we're actually going to get rid of a character, we're going to kill a character, we want there to be real repercussions, emotionally and otherwise, to our stories. It makes for better storytelling, it makes for deeper character stuff. And I think for you, it's more interesting to imagine an actor to get to play real emotion versus cartoon emotion.
That's the difference now with Transformers Prime. We deal with within the acting scope, we deal with fellow actors on a very, very high level of interchange. We're not just doing lines. We're actually facing each other and we're relating to each other. And it's not a cartoon any longer. It's the only cartoon is in a visual. And the cast of Transformers Prime for me is perhaps one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. And working with them all together, you know, every one of them, Josh and Tanya and Andy Zumbi and Steve Bloom, Jeffrey Collins, and Kevin, Steve, Frank.
Kevin Michael.
We record radio play style, so we do it once a week for our session, all the actors in the room simultaneously. And as actually, that's the way we've always done 16 or 17 shows of all the radio play style. It makes for better stuff between the actors, between character, and better ad-libs. We get stuff in the room that we didn't think of. Or we do. Not from you all the time, but it makes for a more again. We tend not to play cartoony. We are a cartoon. We play the emotions and the stakes on us and go straight. We think of ourselves as a live action show versus an animated series.
What's it like voicing a character? What's it like when you're voicing a show that's so action and has so much violence in it from the safety of a sound booth? And how does it feel when you see the final product?
I think it all evens out. I think everything is restored to, once you see the visuals, the storyline pops out at you, and I'm entertained by it. I mean, personally, I can sit down with my grandson who was transfixed by Transformers Prime, and I love it. I love it. To be with him, see him so absorbed into that and liking it, really liking it. Not all the time, because sometimes he actually explores other characters and say, I really like them such and so. I say, wait up. They were tall, or fat, or short, muscular. Within my imagination, this is how he would collect himself through his words and how it went to my brain. So I always thought maybe if a kid had his imagination set on somebody and then he met me, the last thing I wanted to do was to be disappointed, you know? And yet now, when kids realize I'm Optimus Prime, I just say, swarm and roll off. I mean, they love it. And so that has taken away that went to in Rochester, New York. And I was a little hesitant to go, but my daughter insisted that I do, and because, Dad, you have no idea how much people care about it. And I said, well, you have to believe it. You know, I went, and when I walked into the room, there was about 700 people that applauded for a long time. And I was dumbstruck. And then the questions, and there's sincerity, obvious, enthusiasm to ask questions that had never been answered because I had never appeared on anything since 1986, nor had I talked to anybody since 1986 about it, even if I did then, which I didn't. So it was a big shock for me. It was an eye-opener.
Is that about time?
I think so. Many years ago.
Peter, go ahead, you go first. Okay. You're definitely known mostly for Optimus Prime, obviously, assistant dealing over Ironhide. And I know that in the movie, Josh took over again and says Ironhide. Have you ever thought your Ironhide voice was a fun for you to too. So working about it, say, Transformers, just not even as anyone, but just like the voice. Because people love that really cool voice.
But Ironhide didn't really have anything to say for me personally.
That's true.
He was just a big kick butt guy, you know, with lines like Lincoln, whatever. He was relief, you know, relief and something that Brian could say, calm down, you know. So no, I had no reaction to that really, sensitivity. It was Brian that I was most dedicated to because he was doing something that was important and I recognized it.
Peter, along the same lines of that question, can I first say that you were the voice for two of my favorite voices from me growing up, which was obviously Optimus Prime and the narrator for the intro of Voltron.
Yes.
I can't go with it. Anytime I think Voltron, I just hear your voice in the beginning saying Voltron and
Voltron, defender of the universe.
I'm sorry, I'm not there.
We're all nerdy.
Yeah.
We're nerding on I'm going to take that and put it in a ringtone.
I just wanted to know, are there any other characters from your career that you'd like to just revisit at any time just for fun or anything like that?
Oh, I think I would. I think I'd probably enjoy more the camaraderie of the environment that I was working in at the time that we created. It would certainly be a lot of fun to go back and do some of the shows I did with Frank Welton and recreate some of those wonderful days. There were a lot of things that we had. G.I. Joe, we laughed all the time. We had such a great time. I have no idea what I said or what characters I played. No idea. Didn't even remember their names. But I remember the working day. I remember being there and just having a ball. It was just fun. So many creative, wonderful people. There are so many extremely talented voiceover actors, and I'm nowhere near anywhere as good as the people that I work with. They are exceptional. I'm talking about Steve Poe, Frank Welker, Kevin. They're monsters. They're huge. I mean, they just can do everything. You know, I'm lucky to be with them. Really.
I'm curious, Peter, what you think about Activision and what they're doing with Transformers video. Because next month they'll be releasing this big video called Cybertron. You're taking part in it as well. Do you think that plays a huge part of the Transformers license as well? Do you think it introduces a series of games like, oh, he plays Optimus Prime, this is going to be great?
Well, if I were a kid, I would definitely be excited to participate and having experienced the series, the old G1s and the new Transformer Primes, and have the movies, of course, depending on how old. But if I were a kid and they came out with a game and I could want to be any of those characters, I think that would be just a touch of heaven. I can't wait to get home and be Optimus Prime. He's going to be talking to me, or somebody's going to be talking to me, and I'm going to be part of this, part of that. That's a lot of fun. I mean, back when I was a kid, we were throwing a ball around after school.
They didn't even talk to you. They didn't even talk to you.
We didn't have games like that. We had kicked the can for crying out loud.
Peter, all of us in this room obviously have had Optimus Prime influence over our lives or impact us in some way, and we obviously can't take him out of that. How has this character influenced or affected your life personally?
When I realized the impact that Transformers has had on children, and I'm not the only person involved in that show. It's a success because of tons of ingredients, not only just the voice acting, the animation, the writing, the conception. When I realized the effect that it had on, years later, found out about that, I said, I'm not going to let them down. I'm not going to let any fan down. If they love Optimus Prime for what he is, I'll be damned if I'm going to change anything. If he's been a good influence, I'm going to keep making him a good influence and make him a better influence if I can for children all over the world. I would like to be working with NASA. I'm trying to. I'm working with Hasbro, working with Hub, Hasbro, and NASA in the Goddard Space Flight Center, putting something together that will benefit the children of this country and around the world to develop their enthusiasm for space, and whether it's in fiction or whether it's in fact, and science, technology, math, medicine, everything that's connected with space. And I think if Optimus Prime can stir up enthusiasm in some form of interest that will benefit mankind by creating that enthusiasm to venture somewhere above and beyond our Earth, I think Prime should. I really believe that the Hub should, and Hasbro should, and NASA should, and they all want to.
Are those interests that you had before the show, or has Transformers got you interested in space itself?
Since I started doing Transformers Prime, I was asked by the Goddard Space Flight Center when they asked Hasbro Studios, for the permission to give an Optimus Prime award, a spin-off award they call it. And they got permission. They asked me, and I said I would love to. So they flew me to Colorado Springs, and they flew me to Orlando, Florida, space. And I saw the reaction that children had and what they're getting out of the space program through Transformers and Optimus Prime. I said, this is natural. We've got to continue this. This is good. This is family. This is education. It's film. It's kids. I think it's responsibility. You know, and if I can pull something like that off, I think that I'd be doing one of the greatest things I can do in my life.
I like it this way, I don't like it that way.
No, I just did the one I picked. I was explaining earlier that it was my brother's inspiration. I was doing an impersonation of my brother, really, a Marine, and that was the only voice I've never changed it. That was Larry, and continues to be Larry, and it's a great honor to be able to do it.
Peter, can you talk about at all how rewarding it's been for you to bring your Optimus Prime back between movies, new video games, and now the new TV shows? You've also appeared on Rescue Box, for more younger kids. How rewarding is that for you to keep bringing your character back and introducing not just to the old fans, but new generations and continuing generations? And definitely, if you can comment on bringing something you love so much to new generations as well.
I am more grateful for a fan base that stuck behind something they loved, shared that information with me by making themselves heard, which in the final result gave me the opportunity to be Optimus Prime again in 2007. It's a fan base that I love. I said it from the very beginning. We have a communication. There's something that I do that they understand, and what we have is very special. And that I'm extremely grateful for. To me, it was the birth of something that gave me a confidence and a sense of belonging, a sense of that I'd accomplished something that I would never have accomplished unless that had exploded. And I am so grateful for that. That is unconditionally one of the most wonderful experiences in my life, communication between the people that believe in me, what I believe in. We haven't come. It's a great reunion.
And I think that Rescue Bus and Park grew out of that fan base wants to share that with their kids now. Multiple families want to share with their kids. Crime, probably not appropriate for 3, 4, 25-year-olds. The video game, movies. How do you, what is available for them, for their older brothers and sisters, and what they like and what they like. There weren't really a version of Transformers more recently that was appropriate. So when we first, I remember very clearly, when we first told you what we wanted to do with Rescue Bots, Peter was on board immediately. There was not a moment of hesitation. There was some who want to do a younger Optimus. Is it really good? You know what to do? No question. All it would do is introduce a slightly younger audience to the principles of Optimus Prime, everything Optimus Prime stands for, and Peter believes in everything Optimus Prime stands for.
Yeah. See that?
It's pretty awesome.
That's wild.
Stephen Bloom has that shirt too.
Yes.
He was wearing it at a convention. Have you seen it?
But he put his own face over yours. He was wearing
They got to Ninja Inc. and Rep Apparel for making this. Like, I had to get it. I wore this at BotCon with your panel. Actually, I was going to ask, since you've been like the first Prime, like voice actor wise, and you've seen the incarnations over the years of all the Optimuses, is there any preference of look wise, like faceplate, no faceplate, like, or like trucks, like flames, no flames? Like, is there anything you prefer Prime to look like a certain way? If you had your way, like, do you like how he looks now, or prefer the movie look, or the fall Cybertron look, or whatever? Do you want flat nose?
I prefer the TV look.
Well, I have to look at it by saying, Optimus Prime gets up one decade and says, I wonder what I'll wear to the beach today. Next decade, he says, I'm going jogging. I wonder what I should wear. Stripes, mask. I'm just lucky.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
What advice do you give to aspiring voice actors?
It's a lot harder than many people think. Harder, I think, than on camera acting often, because you can't fall back on gestures and expression to sell what you're trying to get across. It's all in the voice. You have to find a way to deliver all the emotion, all suggestion, and all the implication just with your voice. And it's not an easy thing to do, and I think learn the craft is
listening to other people in a realistic situation of how they respond honestly to a bad situation or a good situation. And say, that's interesting the way she said that. That guy was really angry. I like the way he said that, But you'll key it and then you'll start thinking about it that way and you'll apply it maybe to a character that comes up to you in a script. So, yeah, that reminds me of that guy that said that. Might break down the door for you. But just never give up. Never give up. I don't care how long it takes, never give up.
Jeff, Excuse me, sorry to interrupt. We have 5 minutes to wrap up.
Jeff, just last week we saw another appearance by Optimus on Rescue Bots, and we saw Bumblebee in a reference to Ratchet.
That was good, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was, how long will it be?
It was awesome.
Very exciting. Love my crossovers. How long will it be till we see the Rescue Bots on Prime? Just even as a guest appearance.
That's a little bit harder.
CGI,
it's easier for us to take a CG character and bring it down to, in this case, Harmony or Flash animation, than to take a Flash or Harmony character, and because we have to build it from scratch in CG. So unless there's enough of a fan swell that Hasbro feels like they need to do Rescue Bots Prime CG crossover, maybe a black.
It's time to get on Twitter, huh?
That's all I'm saying.
Peter, having been involved with the franchise for so long, are there any defining moments for Optimus Prime as a character that just stand out to you personally, like just within the show, within the movies, like just a favorite moment for Optimus Prime?
I can't really pick one out. It'd be very difficult for me to pick one out. If I saw a whole series of them, I'd say, I like that one, I like it. I can't think of anything right off the top of my head that really sticks out more than anything. It's total ensemble. It's really difficult. It really is. I go in and I read a script, and I'm just so damn grateful to be there, you know, and to have that honor to be a part of the whole deal. Working with a family we're a family. Hasbro is a family, and the Hub is a family. There are two identities, and I have a great fortune. I'm not painting a picture here, blowing smoke. I really mean it. Hasbro is an incredible family of people that really care about a lot of things. And Hasbro Studios and the Hub Network are the same. They really care. They have a vested interest in something more than making money. They have a vested interest in raising the bar for family entertainment. I am one of the luckiest guys in the world to have a good foot in the door and participate with the show. As I am. It's an honor, it's a pleasure. It's a huge pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm Batman, go to BKB and Dogget. I'll be at Comic-Con. All the big news will be at BKB and Dogget and Machinima.com.